everybody. Welcome to Strong Female Lead. My name's Tricia.
And I'm Tessa.
And on our pod, we take a look at what Hollywood's been telling us about what's a strong female lead and what isn't a strong female lead. We look at the portrayal of female characters in movies and television in order to create a social dialogue about representation of women in media. Hi, Tess.
Oh, hello there. Hello there.
Tried to give you, okay. Oh, I was trying to give you a little sexy kitten, like side eye.
Oh.
And then right as I was doing that, you said, hello, listener. And I was like, fine.
Oh, sorry.
Is not received. So I am in like the work room or work area or like work lounge. I don't know what these are called. It's slipping my mind, but it's located in my apartment building. It's great. But I'm just like not allowing anybody in here. Apparently when you shut the door, it just locks. And so I have just bogarted the room for 2 hours. And I'm not looking back. I paid for this, God damn it. Anyways, so yeah, it's a little awkward, but it's fine because people can't be in here. This is a professional recording.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. We have a very important topic to discuss today. A very important topic, a very important movie.
A very important movie. The movie that we're talking about today is Promising Young Woman. I had seen this a while ago. I watched it with a friend. And someone, a friend of mine and my husband's had suggested it on Instagram a long time ago. And it just kept slipping my mind. And I don't know why. It's a perfect SFL movie. I feel like it's really going to draw a line in the sand between Tessa and I. I think we're going to have drastically different feelings, or I'm just going to have all of the feelings. And Tessa may not have the feelings, or they may just be bubbling.
You know, I have mostly questions. Not a lot of strong feelings, but a lot of questions about
I love it.
The character, who we followed for this like 2.5 hour very long movie. Again,
it was the same length as Family Stone. They were both an hour and 45 or an hour and 49 minutes. Is really? The same, yes, that's but I think shocking. That's so funny. I think that's so funny. Because the reason I know is because I looked it up and I was like, I know I'm picking 2 long movies, but I knew that I had already seen this one and I was like, that's fine for me. Yeah. I can do this. No. I hope Tess is okay.
I was like, my God, why is this still happening? God.
And I think it goes by really quick. Okay, so Promising Young Woman is a 2020 dark comedy thriller. Written, produced, and directed by Emerald Fennell in her feature directorial debut. And so it stars Carey Mulligan, a young woman haunted by a traumatic past, as she navigates balancing forgiveness and vengeance. That's interesting to me. It doesn't really seem like there's a lot of forgiveness. So Carey Mulligan, well, let's just talk about some of the people this is starring. It's a pretty good cast. Carey Mulligan is Cassie Thomas, the lead. Bo Burnham is Ryan Cooper, her love interest / former former classmate, medical school classmate. I like Bo Burnham.
Yeah, I really like him as an actor. I like him as an actor more than I like him as a stand-up.
His stand-up, the musical comedy thing, I was really thrown. I did go to a live show of his like years ago, maybe like, oh my God, it could have been 7 years ago in Cleveland. He's great live. He is so good. I haven't seen all of his specials. I think I saw one, maybe it was Happy or something. I forget if that was what it was called, but I'm a fan. I think his humor is very funny, and it translates into acting.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not jokesy. It's just his delivery is just, it's so good.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I do. I think that Bo is a great comedian all around. Though his work isn't like I wouldn't put him in like my top 10 lists of like comics who I absolutely like love, but like there is absolutely no doubt or denying that he's a phenomenally gifted comedian. But I do like him as an actor too. I think he it brings like a very grounded character. Like I know he's not playing somebody who's like that far off from who he is, in terms of like, you know, becoming a character. Like he's still like, he's just Bo Burnham, and we're like agreeing that he went to med school with Carey Mulligan. We're just agreeing. Oh, yeah. Okay, like I would be surprised.
There's not
yeah, I would be like, oh, if he took like a real character role, like a, you know, like he, you know, took a role in the remake of the new Pirates of the Caribbean and it was starring Bo Burnham, I would be genuinely shocked, but intrigued.
Yeah, you're right. He's not a character actor. It's Bo, and he's dating Carey Mulligan's character. Like it's Bo dating Cassie.
Yeah.
And we
very
accept
charming.
That he's
very
a doctor.
Charming. Yeah. He's very
so
charming.
Charismatic.
Mm-hmm.
So charismatic.
Mm-hmm.
Very charming. Could just charm the pants off you, which is sort of what he does.
That's what I hear. I hear Bo's very, very, for a minute there was very well liked in Hollywood.
Okay. And so Alison Brie makes a showing.
Love her.
Which is great. Laverne Cox,
mm-hmm.
Molly Shannon, Connie Britton, Adam Brody. Who plays Cassie's mom? She's always good.
Jennifer Tilly.
Is that Jennifer Tilly?
Is that no, it's not.
No.
Margot Coolidge?
No. It's the woman
Jennifer
from
Coolidge.
Okay, that's who it is.
Yeah.
Oh my God. She's so funny without even trying. Like there's a dinner scene where they're talking to him and he's to Bo Burnham's character, which his name is Ryan Cooper. And they're talking to him because he's a pediatric surgeon. And she just like deadpan asks, are kid parts different than adult parts? Like it's just so good. I don't know. It was just so funny. I'm not sure why.
Because she didn't let it go. She didn't drop it. I was like, yes, thank you. Are they? I don't actually know.
I mean, right. I feel like internally, no. Children don't have extra organs.
Yeah, but they've got all those soft spots. Who knows where they are? I just know that they exist.
There's lots of soft spots. And what is he? What is he operating on?
I don't know.
Like
I just imagine that their bones are really soft. I don't know anything about kids.
Oh, yeah, maybe just very flexible. Just those flexible bones. Okay, so Cassie, Carey Mulligan's character, they describe her as a 30-year-old dropout. I mean, she went to medical school, people. Like, it's not like she dropped out of the 6th grade here. Like, you have to be so negative. She opted out.
Exactly. And she has an undergraduate degree. She just didn't, she just didn't complete med school. Like, she's not a bum. I don't know. Just okay.
Just a med school dropout. Yeah.
She's a loser and a townie.
She's a total loser. She's working at a coffee shop. She lives with her parents. Years earlier, her med school classmate, Al Monroe, raped her best friend and classmate, Nina Fisher. And there was neither an investigation by the school nor consequences from the legal system. So yeah, we're not at all like burying the lead here. That you learn that later in the movie, but the reason I'm saying it now is because it leads Cassie to do what she's doing. It's basically the cause for all of her actions throughout the movie. Mm-hmm. She basically goes to bars and clubs, pretends to be drunk, posing as bait for men, And then they take her home and she confronts them. That's what she does. She scares the living shit out of them because I think it's just so scary that she seems so drunk and she's really not. And I think it's just like that just kind of keeps them just in her stranglehold. And she keeps a record of the men. But it's not really discussed. Like, it sort of seems like, is that like a murder log? But like, it doesn't seem like she's killing any of them. But is she doing something like that we don't see? You know, like, is she violent with any of them? Like, we don't see it, but it's weird that she, like, what's that log gonna do? I don't know.
I would have preferred it to this tiny notebook that she keeps. I was like, what the? How long are you going to do this until you realize it's not working? Like, whatever she's doing, it's not working, that you've had to do it hundreds of times.
Well, that's the thing, is like, you know, she's doing it and she's done it to so many men. And it's like, is she just cleaning up the streets? Like, is her end goal
she's not.
Just
she never
make this not happen? Do you know what I mean? It's sort of like, or it just seems to punish people to help with her. She thinks maybe it's helping her resolve her own trauma, but she's not going to change anything with it. And she's got to know that. She's smart.
Well, I don't know. I was you know, I'm just going to go ahead and say that I didn't love this movie. I'm just so confused by this character and her actions and what's being shown to us as opposed to what's possibly happening. Like, we meet her and we're told that, you know, that her best friend Nina was raped by these guys in college and nothing ever happened. But I'm like, okay, well, that's Nina's story. What's your story? Where does Nina come out of this experience and then your experience begin? And I'm like, I would have loved to see her be like at Nina's funeral, you know, show me her not being able to get over this. Like, this seems like 0 to 100.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We don't see any of the in between. Is that what you mean?
For me, I didn't. Maybe I was just zoning in and out when they were trying to explain this to me. But I just very directly compare this movie to I May Destroy You. And I think that's why in some areas it's coming up short, and it could just be format. I got a lot more story out of I May Destroy You, which is almost the exact same thing. As opposed to this, where I'm like, okay, well, something happened to someone else and you completely lost it. It's not even like necessarily like trauma that's owned by her. Yes, you're grieving the loss of a friend, but I didn't, like in I May Destroy You, like the assault happens to her and we see her spiral and deal with those the consequences.
She doesn't do this.
I mean, she does kind of at the end of I May Destroy You, where she goes back and she like sets the guy up with her friend.
Oh, I was thinking like she does it on a consistent basis. Okay. No. Got it.
But that's why I'm just like, I don't understand, is this is like your strange way of vigilante justicing is to scare men into acting correctly, but it's not working.
No, it does paint men. I mean, it is, yeah, there are men like this for sure. And it's gross to watch. And most women, I don't want to say all, I would say many, many women out there have been on the other end of something like this, whether it happened to fruition, you know, like where it was a completed act of, you know, sexual assault, or if it was just, not just, but it was someone taking advantage of them being drunk or on some sort of substance or passed out. I feel like there's varying degrees of this kind of behavior. I have definitely experienced it. I'm sure a lot of women have, and it was it's pretty gross to watch. It was an interesting and pretty accurate portrayal of it happening and what it looks like. So there was a part, of me, or a large part, where I was just like, yeah, it's like, get him, fuck yeah, get him, make him feel like shit. Oh yeah, I was like, get it, love this.
I was having the opposite experience. I'm like, 100%, these guys are absolutely gross. And I love that they're, quote unquote, nice guys or good guys, or guys who would describe themselves as nice guys and good guys, and that, they'd never do this. But at some point, again, it's not working. Your vigilante system of justice.
Well, doesn't it at the end, though? She gets the guy.
But she has to die to do it.
Well, okay. Yeah.
Instead of going through any traditional legal means of pursuing justice. Like, she gets the video and then she still kills herself. Or, has a male-assisted suicide. I don't know what to call what happened at the end. Like,
male-assisted suicide. Oh, well, no, she's killed.
But this seems to all have been her plan. Like, what?
Oh, see, I don't think she planned on dying, but she knew there was a good chance that she might.
And she still did it.
Yeah, because it was worth it to her at the end.
That makes no sense to me.
To confront him, because her whole thing is confronting.
And that makes no sense to me.
And then her dying, though, I mean, yeah, it does in a way kind of seem, okay, well, hey, we gotta get there. There.
We'll just, start where things start at the beginning. But I was just like,
start where things start. We're just gonna start where things start at the beginning. That is a fantastic quote.
I just couldn't believe that anyone would do all of this. It seems...
Well, yeah, it's absurd, but like, it's a movie.
Yeah, but I always want I just have a really hard time like identifying with this character's actions, as they just do not make sense to me at all. Like, and I May Destroy You, like, we get a lot. We kind of go crazy with her. And this one, she's already she's already fallen off the deep end. Like, the imagery in this film also, like her scenes with her family, and she's like, it seems like she's like mentally regressed to childhood. I was lost. It's very strange to see her, and like the focus on like the hair and like that braid, and I'm like, this is creepy. I don't know why we're being shown this.
She does dress like a little girl. Little, like, it's a lot of like fuzzy pinks, a lot of pastel blues, like and then during the day, right? And then at night, it's like she's either dressed like a stripper, like she is in the bachelor party scene, or it just, she's either wearing like a ton of makeup or none. It's very bizarre, and she does kind of seem like a little girl.
Yeah, and I was like, is that just to pick up a different type of creeper? I'm like, I don't think we ever met Cassie. Is it Cassie or Carey?
Cassie.
I don't think we ever met her throughout the whole movie. I think she's vacillating between like episodes of something. And I think that's also what was throwing me off. Like, I don't feel like I ever got to meet Cassie. I definitely never met Nina to mourn her with Cassie the way that I think maybe some people made that connection. I didn't. It didn't. I don't know. This movie is like really puzzling to me. Like, I don't understand the accolades around it. I don't get it. So let's go back through.
Let's start from the start, as they say. As Tessa says, you're they.
I'm
You've
they.
officially graduated to they.
Yay.
As they say. So Cassie's working at a coffee shop. She's doing her thing at night, her vigilante shit. A former classmate of hers shows up at the coffee shop. He asks her out. She spits in his coffee. He still wants to hang out with her. He drinks the coffee. That was weird. That was very weird, very gross.
Yeah.
So he mentions that Al is getting married, and Al is the person who raped her best friend, Nina, during medical school. So she starts to learn that, Ryan is still kind of friends with those guys. And I think that that's bothersome to her, but she sort of lets it go.
Like, time out. This is giving me fucking Halloween vibes. I'm like, girl, if the most devastating and traumatic thing that's ever happened to you in your life, it happened in one space, like, girl,
why are you dating?
Just leave that space. Like, I know your family's there, but maybe it's not the healthiest place for you, because it didn't seem like, oh, Al has just come back into town for the wedding. He's been a looming figure in San Francisco or wherever they are.
No, he lived in London.
Oh, he
was away in London.
Oh, for many years.
He just moved back.
Again, yeah. And like, I feel like just a proper, like, I think, as the movie goes on, we get like this Roman numerals of 1, 2, 3, and 4, like the 4 big actors who she sees as having fault in this. It just seems like, okay, well, you did this hundreds of times to what? To get 4 people?
So can I keep going?
Yeah.
I know. There's lots of questions.
I told you. I just have questions.
Tessa just throwing up her hands. She's throwing up her hands.
I don't get it.
So Cassie hears that Al is back in town. He's getting married, and she wants to basically exact revenge on him. So she starts off by meeting like a former classmate and friend of hers, played by Alison Brie. And Madison, Alison Brie's character, this is a really weird scene where she basically, she denies that Nina is, she denies, pause, these individuals might be trying to get into this room. Can you pause it for 1 sec? Okay. This is not your room.
Zoom.
Okay, so she meets with Madison, and Madison is denying that Nina was raped, and just the typical thing you might hear, like, well, don't get all drunk and then get upset, that you sleep with somebody, blah, 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 blah. And then goes into like what men want, and now she's home with her kids and all of this stuff. And meanwhile, Cassie is slowly but surely getting Madison like super hammered, and then sets it up so that Madison thinks that she was taken advantage of or raped, or that she willingly slept with a random guy. Harsh. That is a tough plot, or that is a tough, not a movie plot. That's like a very difficult plot, like to think of a woman doing to another woman. But she does. And so, Madison has no memory of what happened, and she leaves a bunch of voicemails for Cassie, and Cassie doesn't answer them. So later on, Madison confronts Cassie outside her house, trying to find out what happened after their lunch. Cassie tells her nothing happened. And then Madison gives her an old phone containing a video of Nina's rape, and then tells her to never talk to her again or never contact her again. It's like, holy shit. And Madison, I'm wondering, like, did she marry one of the guys in that group? Because that's even sicker. Yeah, I don't know either. So there's that. So Cassie has that video, right? So this makes it, this takes the plot, like, this creates even more wrinkles because she had already been trying to think about how she was going to, you know, how she was going to get back at Al, but she hears Ryan's voice laughing in the background of the video, which is truly terrible. I just, oh my God. So she's done. She is absolutely done at this point. She goes to Ryan at his office. She shows him the video and she's basically like, tell me where the bachelor party is going to be. You have to tell me. And he tells her. And I fast forwarded through, like, they have their montage of romance.
Yeah.
Which is always like a key component of these movies. It starts in a pharmacy because when you're starting to fall in love, you can have fun anywhere. So he's singing Paris Hilton's song, which is very funny because that song is very catchy. Bo Burnham is just great in that scene. I don't care. No, actually, that's not it. What the people say, I'm gonna be a supermodel. That's not the right song.
Oh.
That's from Clueless.
Yeah.
That's a Clueless montage. With Brittany Murphy, R.I.P. What's the Paris Hilton song? How's it go?
Well, congrats on your wedding, girl.
Oh, she got married?
Yeah.
Oh.
And all that, like, celebrity Twitter has been talking about is Paris Hilton's secret wedding. She actually made it down the aisle, and so congrats.
She actually made it down.
I feel like she had quite a few rings, but no actual wedding.
Oh yeah, you're right. She's been engaged multiple times. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I like Paris. Like, she's a success. She's so big.
Nothing
in Europe.
Against Paris Hilton. Like, I think she's. Yeah. I hope she's a good DJ. I mean, I assume she is by now. She's been at it for quite a time DJing.
She makes so much money. Like, she just is. Yeah, she's just so successful. Like, outside of the U.S. Like, here the Kardashians kind of took her place, and then she just went on to, like, conquer the world. And made movie from her song being in this movie, or made money from her song.
Oh, it's like she made a movie.
She made movie.
I think she's in House of Wax, but that's the only thing I've ever seen her act in, and it was really terrible.
I never saw that. I don't need to.
I don't recommend it. Yeah,
I don't need to. So I also want to say that before Madison shows her the video, Cassie also visits the lawyer who basically harassed Nina into dropping the charges against Al. And he's remorseful. He's actually on extended leave from practicing law. He had a nervous breakdown, or epiphany, as he calls it. And he admits to digging up information on Nina to discredit her, as well as other victims. So she planned on probably having him she probably wanted him to be beaten up. She, like, hired someone to do it, but then she gets a very quick change of heart, forgives him instantly, and tells the person waiting outside for her, that no, you do not need to go in. I was like, that was very fast, but maybe she knew that she would be able to use him in some way. I'm not sure. So Cassie arrives at Al's bachelor party posing as a stripper. Question. Did anybody hire a stripper? Was anyone thinking, did everyone else think someone else hired a stripper? Like, who planned it, and were they like, this isn't the person
I don't
that I
think
hired?
anyone called a stripper. I think she just showed up.
Yeah.
I think they were all telling the truth when they're like, wasn't me.
Okay. But then they're just going to go along with it? Like, isn't that terrifying?
Yeah. Well, I think like everyone just assumes that someone is lying.
Got it. Yeah, that's what I thought too. Because like, that's truly, truly terrifying. And as a dancer, she also has like this wig that has all the pastel colors in it too. It's just, there's a lot of like interesting sort of cinematography and color palettes in this, I think. But I think they're really showing us like they're over sexualizing Cassie in certain ways when she's trying to like, she wants to be over sexualized in that situation because she's using it to her advantage. She doesn't want it, but like she's doing it on purpose. And then the men just look like animals. Like when she's like just putting the alcohol, like just like,
yeah,
like, you know, just kind of like, just like squirting it in their mouth and like grabbing their faces like really roughly, and they're just like blah 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 blah. And it's just really gross. And so basically she talks Al into going upstairs at this cabin. So they're at the cabin for the bachelor party. She talks him into going upstairs, and that's where she basically lays it out that I think she's planning on carving Nina's name all over him, which is interesting. And, you know, she handcuffs him, and then he suffocates her with a pillow. So he is, well, then his best friend comes up and helps him and tells him that none of it's his fault, which I was just like, oh,
that was terrifying. That was absolutely terrifying.
That just made me, I became scared in that moment that like, that's a conversation that men are having with each other when something terrible happens. Like, you're fine. This is not your fault. This is not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. And who's the guy in it? Schmidt.
Yeah. Schmidt.
Oh my God. Schmidt from
New Girl.
What is it? New Girl. It was just like, and he was very Schmidt in it, but he was like evil Schmidt. Like scary privileged Schmidt. And then, so then he helps him out. So Schmidt finds him in the morning, and he's like, well, we just have to get rid of the body before everyone wakes up. And they just go and burn her. And he just seems like he's done it before. Like, it was wild.
I mean, I assume that's what you learn in the Boy Scouts.
He might have, right. he might have done it. So fast forward to Elle's wedding reception. And this is where it's just like, it's too good to be true. Like, it's great, but it's, I see you shaking head, but it is just like, there's no way that this would all happen this way. But Ryan receives a bunch of pre-scheduled texts from Cassie, which is interesting. I didn't know you could do that. I'd like to do that in the future. Basically telling him that, like, you didn't think this would be the end. Now it's the end. Have a fun time at the wedding. And the cops are just showing up to arrest Al. His best friend Schmidt runs, which is hysterical. A slow run, but a run, a little jog. So he gets arrested at his wedding reception, and it was the attorney that helped Al's former defense attorney. So that's why I think maybe Cassie, she thought maybe he could come in handy later, which is maybe why she let him off. But she basically sent him a package with the video of the rape and details of where the police should look if she disappeared. And the the phone thing, I'm like, well, yeah, I guess she must not have, her phone didn't get buried with her. I don't know. Or was it like in the ground with her and it still sent those texts? Oh no, did she leave it off? Like, because they were trying to get in touch with her and her phone was off, I think. So how did it send those texts? Maybe, oh no, the attorney had it. The attorney had the phone, so he turned it back on. Got it, answered my own question. I made my way through that.
Yeah.
So that's it. So that's the plot.
Yeah.
More questions?
I mean, I wish there was just like a B camera that I could watch that told me the rest of the story. I just feel like this was very like a series of sketches, all about like how to get justice, like one woman's quest for justice, but it's not. It's a quest for vengeance.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, and
sure, but what's wrong with that?
To me, like this story doesn't make sense to me. Like I just don't think that this would play out the way that they've. Given what I know about these characters, it just doesn't seem like this is this. It just seems like the characters are written to do these things, and it's not really like within their like character as it has been developed within the film to do these things. Like, why are you doing this, Carey? Yeah, I feel like Carey has a lot of mental health issues that I don't think anyone is taking seriously. I think, yeah, I just think that this is a shocking way to react to a violent episode by creating this type of chaos. Because again, to me, like her method of scaring straight these individual men doesn't work. Why she's doing this by herself? Like you'd think that she'd have like a small team of people working with her for some actual protection, like like somebody who's aware of what she's doing, exactly what she's doing, to be like, hey, I'm going out, I'm meeting this person, I'm actually going to call the cops, because like these guys all reacted really well to what she was telling them. Because I was like, not one of these guys got angry or even like handsy with her after she's revealed I was lying this whole time.
No, she's scared, or they're scared.
But would they be? I don't know. I feel like the reaction would be anger, and I felt it was a little disingenuous that none of them reacted truly angry or violent towards her, and then she had to narrowly escape something, because I feel like that's extremely realistic for what she's setting herself up for. Like, unless she's some sort of martial artist who is just like has a don't fuck with me vibe, but like no, she's a small a petite woman in the situation with like numerous men, hundreds of men, and there's been no reality check to say maybe this isn't a great plan. Even like Batman has Alfred, and I just don't understand how this is plausible at all. I hated the scene with Molly Shannon when she's telling Carey to like get a life, and I was like, she's the only what? Again, like maybe there is a director's cut of this that just like inserts some scenes to make shit make sense, because like the only person who's like carrying, albeit an unhealthy torch, for your daughter's memory and legacy and pursuing justice on her behalf, you're telling her to get a life and move on, which I don't.
Well, I think because she thinks the same thing you think, is that whatever she's doing isn't working. I don't know if she knows exactly what she's doing. Yeah, but like just in general, like holding on to it in that way isn't working.
Yeah, but I also feel like I don't know, maybe it's just the delivery. Move the fuck on, Carey. I was like, how much time has gone by? Like,
sorry, I gotta tell you, your name's Cassie.
Cassie, sorry. Just kidding. How much time has gone by? She's 30, so she was in med school. Like, was this last year? Like, I'm so confused on the timeline of that's happening, because was she properly in med school at like 27, and it's been 3 years since she's seen any of these people? 3-4 years. If you're 30, you'd be like doing your residency, I'm assuming. So she didn't make it that far. So she's like 27, 28 when she drops out of med school. How did she forget these people? How did he forget? What? That doesn't make, okay, whatever.
Well,
It's
med
not important.
school, yeah. Um, yeah, I think they're all just like practicing now, and it's been a couple of years since she's seen them.
I don't know. It just
But
seems
she
like,
did seem a little like, where'd Ryan come from? Like, was he always there?
yeah, it just seems like she's wasted hundreds of opportunities, literally hundreds of opportunities to, come up with a workable plan to seek justice on uh, Al and his gaggle
I
of
like it. So
dudes.
you
Like,
don't think that the plot is well planned because you like a
no,
plot.
I like a plot. I love a scheme. But this
This
doesn't.
is the
This seems
ultimate scheme.
this
This is a huge.
sure.
This is the ultimate scheme. Like a scheme to the death.
That's the part I just don't agree with this character dying on this mission. I thought for sure, because they show her narrow escape twice before, that there would be something bigger than he actually, the Al gets one over on her and then actually commits a provable act of uh, terror. But I was like, but you already had proof. You already had proof that the
Yeah.
events unrolled the way that Nina said they did. You
Yeah,
could have
but they
just
weren't
gone with
gonna.
that. Why
Yeah,
was that
but
not good enough? But
I
no.
don't think that they could. I think it'd been too
Why?
long.
I don't think so, because it's been like 2 years, like 3 years. She could have, it's, unless this happened in their undergrad and they, went to the same like college and went to the same school for med school. Like, how much time could have gone by that the like statute of limitations wouldn't have allowed you to pursue this case? Like, I don't understand why you had to die. It's not important. It's not important. That's what she chose to do. So
Wait.
congrats. You got your guy, so I guess she does win in the end.
The statute of limitations. Well, it's state by state, so that's tough. Where are they?
I have no idea. I guess San Francisco, they seem pretty liberal. I don't know why, like in my head, I feel like you have like 7 years to pursue something like this.
Well, let's look if we think they're in California.
And she did kidnap that young girl, which was all too easy for her to overlook. And I was like, okay, well, are you becoming a villain before our eyes? Are we never going to call out Cassie for her criminal activity?
So California's statute of limitations for its most serious felony sex crimes is 21 years or more. That's a long time.
That's a long time.
That's a very long time. I don't know where this would fall in. I mean, I would think that it would be considered a serious felony sex crime, but you never know. Okay, so I see what you're saying. I mean, I loved it, but I wasn't really paying attention to those holes. Like, they didn't matter to me. I thought this was like a really entertaining movie. And I thought the music was really good. The soundtrack was great. Like, it's a raining man. Just like, oh God. And the song at the very end, oh God, what was it? Just call me angel of the morning, angel. Like, it was just so good. I thought the score was so good. The color palette, the cinematography, like all of it. I thought it was so entertaining. And yeah, I think the way that, and Toxic, you know that you're toxic. Like, they had all these sort of like remakes of the songs, which was totally fun. And yeah, she was a character, but she wasn't fleshed out.
I just feel like we're giving way too much grace to her character. For somebody who's pursuing what she's going to call justice, we're letting a lot of shit slide that she is doing. And I was like, is this like supposed to show us the descent into like how people, can become the criminals that they're trying to fight? Like what would typically be a cop's story in a cop movie. We're just showing it through the lens of a woman who's experienced tragedy, like the good cop who's like meets the system, can't fight the system, gets rolled into the system. Is that what's happening here?
Yeah, or like the detective who has more in common with the criminal than he or she would like to admit. They're just like different sides of the same coin.
Yeah. And I'm like, does she not become the other side of Al's coin?
I mean, what does she do to him other than cuff him?
She was going to brand him with Nina's name.
Maybe it was just a threat. Maybe she wasn't. We didn't see her do it, did we?
She had hired a who we can assume is a hitman to beat someone up.
But he didn't beat the didn't beat the attorney up.
Yeah, but I feel like the crime is in the hiring also.
But we didn't see her do anything violent. Or anything violent. We didn't see on screen anything violent happen. I'm just saying.
I don't know.
It's a technicality.
Like there's a strong case for entrapment happening. I wouldn't have done any of those things if she hadn't.
Right. Yeah.
That's again, I'm like, are you pursuing justice or vengeance? Which I'm not saying she's wrong to pursue vengeance, but
I think it's vengeance.
But then I think just let her be fully shitty. Like, why do we have these weird, like, infantile scenes with her and her parents? Let her be shitty. Let her be like, I'd rather her be, what's her name with the big eyes from Black Swan?
Mila Kunis?
Mila Kunis type character who's like, I am a sex positive woman, kind of see it as like the quote unquote girl who this would have happened to. Like if you stereotypically write a story from like 2006 about who something like this would have happened to, make that girl the protagonist, like not somebody who's outside of that behavior, like putting it on as an act. Like, no, be about that life. I don't understand. Maybe I'm just
so like, you don't think she's authentic?
No. This didn't read as authentic to me. I think the situations that she puts, that the writers have put her in, felt very real. I feel like a lot of women can relate to, especially meeting that nice guy nerd who's like, McLovin. McLovin, yeah, who like wakes her up and he's like, oh, you need to wake me up. So that type thing. I feel like a lot. I feel like
you fell asleep. I'm like, oh God.
Yeah, but you're just as shitty. Yeah.
He was terrible. I mean, he woke her up to like, she just passed out. Don't wake her up.
And Adam Brody.
Oh God, that one was terrible. That one was gross.
Yeah.
All right, Tessa. So it's about that time. Let's talk about this criteria we have here on Strong Female Lead. I am dying to know your thoughts. I'm always dying to know your thoughts, but especially because of the strong opinions about our lead character. I really am very curious about whether or not you feel like she is a strong female lead. So on SFL, what we take a look at is whether the lead is top billed. Does the character impact the plot or move the story forward? And do they have agency? I'd love to hear what you say.
Despite how I feel about this character's actions, I mean, she's definitely an SFL. She exceeds the criteria in all categories. Even though I think in her mind she feels that this is about her friend, I think this is also about her. And,
it's very much about her.
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, I think the noble quest is in to do all these things in Nina's memory and in Nina's honor and to take on the patriarchy. But I also think this is about, I think we'd be not playing to the top of our intelligence to say that this story isn't also about Carey Mulligan's character. Now I can't even think of her name.
Cassie.
Cassie.
You don't really remember her name a lot in this. I think that may be a Freudian slip.
I know it's probably a bad sign about.
But Carey and Cassie, unfair.
It's simple. Yeah.
Don't do that to us.
In my own defense, I'm just so distracted by her outfits in every scene. It's not my fault that I don't remember her name when you've put her in such interesting costuming. That is annoying.
Yes, because it's as if she's like a daydreaming little girl rather than promising young woman. She's dressed like a preschooler.
Her promise is stunted at girlhood, and I think that that's creepy, even though I understand that's probably what they were going for, is that she has a child's aesthetic, because I don't know, I guess women lose their potential in the eyes of the patriarchy once they become fuckable or of fuckable age. I think that's what's happening, especially that damn bow. I just cannot. I think that's so extra. It's so creepy.
She just was no longer promising because she was unfuckable, because she wanted nothing to do with men based on what they had done to her friend. So yes, therefore she must stay as a baby girl.
That's the only. I do think that this movie is interesting because it plays to something I think about a lot, and that's whether or not men actually think that women are human. It's just a question that I like to ask myself. I was like, I don't think that they think, do they think that we're real? I wonder if men sometimes experience women as people experience ghosts. Some of them see us, and some of them just say that they see us but don't see us. And some of us just do not believe that we exist, or that we I feel like there's a connection between being a woman and being a ghost.
I think you're onto something. I think that they're confused about the level of interaction they're supposed to be having with us, with ghosts, and communication. How's the ghost communicating? Are they communicating by turning the lights on and off? Sometimes, some people can see the ghost sometimes. Some people cannot. So I think that you are definitely
I think I'm onto something. I think I'm onto something. And then mediums, people who speak to ghosts, would be dating gurus who proclaim to know all these tips and tricks to talk to women, but they don't. I don't know what they're doing. Just talk to us like you would a human. And I assume that if you wanted to speak to a ghost, you would just open your mouth and speak words into a room with a ghost. And voila, you're speaking to a ghost. You don't need a medium, just like you don't need a dating guru.
I have worked with a medium before, just at a party, a friend's party. And I think another way of looking at it is really just a liaison.
Yeah.
and it's unclear whether or not like exactly what they're liaising, but what's beautiful about it is it's really whatever kind of job you make of it. Like it sort of reminds me, and I maybe I need one of those. Like it reminds me of when I traveled to Iceland. I don't know. We've been doing this podcast for a couple of years, so I might be bringing, you never know. I could have talked about this trip. We could definitely be recycling a lot of material. But I took a solo trip to Iceland back in 2013, and they had, they believe in elves and hidden people. And haha, it's like really easy to laugh about it,
That's
but
terrifying.
like, but we also at the same time, like, you know, religion has a lot of that for us. Theirs is just less religious and more just like a belief of the country. And that is what makes it so fascinating. And they have like elf like liaisons, like at least they did at this point. And you know what? I did not fact check this. So this is something someone told me in the hostel. She's or from in the Airbnb. She's from Canada. She was great. But you know what? I'm just saying it as fact. I did absolutely no fact checking on this. But what she said was they have these roles, government roles, and they're like elf ambassadors or liaisons. And I'm obsessed with that, and I think that a medium is dabbling into that territory, except it's just not recognized by the government, and therefore it might not have the same job security, and it might not have all of the bennies, you know, and really that just quote unquote legitimacy that our government affords, but like really what's that anyways? I mean, frankly, Trump was basically an elf ambassador. So I don't, you know, I'm just saying, I think there's something to it. And I think that it's maybe a job I'd like.
To be a liaison between the elves and the United States as like an ambassador role?
Well, no, it's the elves like within Iceland and their government there. Like there's little houses that are built for them and stuff. And they're actually like they're real houses, and they're built. They're built of things, and it's a tiny house and you can see it. It's like the size of a big rock. No, I don't. I want a job like that. I want a job where basically I'm just in a fantasy world and I get to define my role and what it is, and nobody can argue otherwise, because there's this collective belief or desire to believe that elves are true or that ghosts and spirits are true. And so like, what are you going to do? You can't just, if you believe, then that person has a job and they get to do whatever they want.
I feel like that is very much a thing that you could do, because we've all collectively agreed that the housewives are important and they are not. And so I feel like the world, anything can happen. I feel like this is America. I feel like that is our birthright, is to make something ridiculous true, no matter how many times people have told us the opposite or that it could be better done a different way. We are Americans through and through. And so I say pursue that dream.
You know what? I like that. Thank you. And that sort of brings me to a little bit, I appreciate your support. I don't know if I'm going to get that sort of support from Zach.
Yeah, I mean.
but you know what though? At least I have you in my corner, and maybe if I put together some sort of proposal,
exactly.
I could kind of get like a testimonial from you.
Yeah.
And you know, and it just kind of makes me think I'm doing this program called the Artist's Way. It's like an 8-week self-leading program. My therapist has wanted me to do it a long time. And it's about like unblocking, like basically getting rid of creative blocks, but it's really interesting. And it's just kind of finding creativity through spirituality. You might actually like it. I'll like share the book with you.
Yeah,
At
it sounds
some point.
familiar.
You might have
Sounds
heard of it. It's been around a while. Like the Eat, Pray, Love author, like she did it, you know, and look where her life ended up. So it basically like kind of gets rid of those creative blocks, or it helps you to kind of like free that. And so I'm just in week 1, and a lot of it's play. Like it feels, some of it's like a little bit of work, but like it's play though. And I took myself on a little artist date. And basically that just means like take yourself on just like, you know, do whatever you want and do it by yourself. And I already like kind of enjoy doing that, but this one's just a little more intentional. And so I just went to a bookstore that I'd never been to, because a lot of places are closed early these days. And so I don't want to go to a bar. I want to go to a coffee shop, but they're all closing at like 7 because like they're just not getting enough business. So I found a bookstore that was open till 9 that like didn't kick me out if I just sat down. And so it was actually a very cute little bookstore. And so I went in, and one of my exercises was to come up with like, if you had 5 alternate lives, like what would you be doing in them? And then maybe do one of them that week. And there's no like rules. It doesn't mean you have to like, you have to forsake your job and like just do this role. Like, and some of them, it might not even make sense. You might not be able to figure out how to do it, but it's just like unblocking that sort of creativity. So a lot of them were, you know, it was like forensic psychologist, right? Was like one of them, or, you know, like investigative journalist, like on the beat. One of them was like a private investigator, which just really taps into my sense of voyeurism. And then the other one, which I thought was probably the most fun, and that I might just be able to like even incorporate this into another date with myself. And I promise you people, I know I'm long-winded, this is coming to the fantasy connection. Okay, so this is what I want to do. I'm like, you know what? In another life, maybe I could have just been a Russian spy during the Cold War. I'm watching The Americans. It looks very, very stressful.
I was gonna say, all of the things you listed were be a spy or like hold secrets.
I love stories, and I like learning stories about people. And one was professional podcaster, right? But I mean, and I guess I am doing that, like not professionally, but you know what I mean? Like I am acting that one out. But no, it's very much holding secrets, people's stories, like just learning about people, all that kind of stuff. But the spy thing, I was like, you know what? I can just truly just like one day allocate some time to myself, get a cute little like outfit that I would think would be like a spy on TV, and really just wander around Chicago in my own fantasy spy situation, where I'm like watching people and coming up with stories, like totally out there and imaginary. And I'm like, maybe I could even get a wig, but like if someone recognizes me though, that's going to be slightly uncomfortable.
No.
But how fun, like just to do that. I mean, you know, it could be like 3 hours on a Saturday, or maybe better a Saturday night. And I'm just going into bars and listening in on conversations and really just like getting people to open up to me. And they don't know that I would pretending to be a spy.
I feel like brunch like is all loose lips and a lot of hangovers. I feel like brunch time on a Sunday would be like a good time to do this spy activity. A lot of loose lips. A lot of loose lips. And just, so you can't get a job out of, I mean, I guess acting. It's maybe a job of just pretending to be other things and other people. So some people do get that, but no, that's going to be one of my exercises. And I truly I just like laugh. I like giggle to myself when I think about it, because I'm just, love that.
Isn't that so funny? But that's like sort of
very exciting.
That's like the kind of shit that this program can kind of like bring out. So it's very playful to kind of like open that up. But anyways, oh my goodness. I know we went into ghosts and men and how women are ghosts. So I'm going to bring it back to the criteria. And then it took me into elf territory, and now how I'd like to be a spy. but that's because of the way my attention is, and this is a perfect forum. This is where my brain gets to work the way that my brain naturally works. In the real world where I have to function, this is not helpful.
Yeah.
This is unhelpful thinking to get things done productively. But here, it's just here. It's stream of consciousness.
Safe creative space. Yes. My stream of consciousness told me that women are ghosts to men.
Yes. And I think you're right. And I think that mediums are liaisons. And I think that elf ambassadors are a real job. And I think that we can all become spies if we want to. And I also think that Cassie is a strong female lead. Like 100%. You didn't even have to watch this to know. You could have watched the trailer. She's, 100% a strong female lead. And it is kind of an interesting dichotomy because of how she sort of plays off as a little girl, right? But she's the strong female lead. It's weird. It's uncomfortable. It's mucky. I loved it. What would you rate it?
I think I don't want the listeners to think that I didn't understand. I understand what this movie is doing.
Did you get it?
I understand that it's subverting the patriarchy and showing us that, while we'd all like to think that we are the good guys, at times, we are victim and victimizer. I get it. I get what was happening there. I saw it. I think that for me, I would probably give this movie like a 3 out of 5, maybe 3.5 out of 5. I really liked it. The only thing I would change about, the things that really annoyed me about Cassie are the times where she like slips in and out of like what seems like herself, in order to either like be the person that she was when she's with her parents, or the person that she feels she needs to be in order to get this revenge for, on Nina's behalf. She loses herself completely, and I'm like, if we were gonna do this again, like I don't know if the same writer writes this topic a lot, or if this is just like a one-off for her, but like I would love to see a character like if this writer and Gillian Flynn could write a movie together, I think it would be an unstoppable movie that like really like just captures what is what I would like to see in a strong female revenge movie. I think that between Perfect Amy and Crazy Cassie, I think that there's something between those characters that's going to just. It
wasn't Perfect Amy, but I know it. I know like what you're talking
Amazing about. Amy.
Amazing
Amy. Amazing Amy. Yes, somewhere between these two characters, I feel like there is a either a villainous woman or an anti-hero that like just completely like stays in I think in her version of femininity and in her version of I don't know, existing. I just hate that like it seems like these characters give up on themselves in order to even pursue their revenge. Like you're like, let me put all of my hopes, dreams, pursuits on back and give up my own promise. Like, I understand the world that she lives in the story and how she feels that and then it's true. It's not just how she feels about it. It's absolutely true that the patriarchy is fucking up her shit. But I would really yeah. And not being held to account. And this is, the extremes that she has to go to show people who they are. I wish that she would, refocus that energy on herself instead of actually losing her life in the end. Like that.
Yeah, the death part sucked. It sucked that in order to be a strong female lead in this, she kind of had to die.
Mm-hmm. And it seems like it was still like, at least for the for her interaction with the other female characters, it seems all for nothing. Right, because Alison Brie's character only helps her begrudgingly, and Carrie Britton's character only helps her begrudgingly. They're so comfortable, and I understand that again, that it's another lens used to look at women in a patriarchal society and the ways that women uphold patriarchy. Again, I get it. I just don't love it.
Are you afraid that you're going to get some backlash?
No, I feel like I took the beginning of this
this movie.
A lot of people love this movie, and I understand what they're seeing, and I understand how validating that must feel to be to feel seen if this is a way that you felt like you had not been seen before, a representation that you have felt like you needed and lacked. And so I get that. I don't want to just shit all over. It is a joke. I just want people to know that this isn't just, since it is a more serious topic. I don't want people to only think that I find Carey Mulligan's character annoying, because I did. That's true. But I also get it.
But it's interesting. It's like, I believe that it was written by a woman.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it does fall into, and whether or not this is a commentary on women in media, or if this is just like, I think this happens in movies without people trying to make it happen. And then I'm wondering if it happened on purpose in this one. But like, think about it, like Thelma and Louise, like a lot of movies with strong females, their strength is what ends up becoming their demise. It's like, we can't have you in this world. And a lot of those movies and stuff, I don't know if that one in particular, but are written by men, and shows like, wow, these strong females really can't exist. They can't exist in this world. Something bad will happen to them. And this one, in her being and her choosing her death, actually, and maybe that is something that's different. She basically did choose her death in order to kind of complete the cycle, or to kind of like end the cycle just with this one person. That was all it did. But it was, so that's a story of vengeance. But in the end, the strong female dies. She dies. Yeah. So maybe even unintentionally, this writer is telling us, like, yes, we still can't live. Like, she's doing it all crazy like, and she's, and it's very emotional. She comes across like unemotional about it, but the whole thing is very emotionally driven, like very emotionally driven. And then she dies. So it's like, cool.
Yeah, I think that's what always bothers me, is that like it like we can, I don't know, even in our imaginations, in a completely fictitious world, I don't know, I feel like it's sometimes hard to even imagine a world where a character like Cassie exists. She keeps going, she moves on, she sees value in herself outside of her relationship with her best friend, because I'm like, it is an absolutely tragic thing that has happened to Nina, the best friend character, and just a horrific thing, and then it's insinuated that she takes her own life, equally horrific, a trauma on top of a trauma. And it's just just kind of bothers me sometimes that we don't imagine universes where these women, this type of character, chooses something else.
Chooses life, chooses her life,
her pursuits, her dream of being a doctor. Like, I feel like that's the promise that like dies as you age with being in femininity. It's that you're constantly forced to make these tragic compromises with the world and with society in order to keep going. And then those of us who choose to not keep going, and then you find yourself, I imagine, and I feel like this is the period of time that is just never filmed, like the time between 35 and 50 for women, where I feel like you're coming to the rationalization of all of the compromises. It'll, just like men are going through midlife crises. The same thing for women. I just feel like it's so sadly underrepresented. But,
when you start to realize that. And I believe, positive thinking. I know that I'm not like into The Secret. Okay. It's not like, hey, I want that parking space and that parking space shall appear. Like, no thanks. But I do think that you do get what you put into the world. And I do think that energy matches energy. And I do believe that. But there is a time in every woman's life where they realize, unless for some reason they were able to bypass it, that the deck was sort of stacked against them.
Mhm.
And then you have to kind of figure out and pivot.
Yeah, if you can, I mean.
If you can.
Yeah.
And then if you can't, then you find your little piece of paradise in whatever life you constructed. I don't know. It's a very, it's, all right. So everybody, thank you.
Is this what you wanted? The sad reaction. Can't I just go back to disliking her outfits?
Is this, so I give it a 4.5.
Oh,
I
nearly perfect.
4 to 4.5. Yeah, no, I shouldn't question myself. 4.5. I thought it just like hit it all for me. Whether or not I agree with why she was doing it or how she was doing it, I thought that it was a really, really interesting story, and I loved the way it was told. So on that note, everybody, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being promising young, strong female leads with us. Or not young, just promising, strong female leads, just here with us in our moments. And, you can find us if you want to join in on the conversation. You can find us on Instagram at StrongFemalePOD.
Mm-hmm. And check us out on Twitter. We like to tweet, but if you have any movie suggestions, go ahead and tweet them at us. We're SFL_Chicago.
Yeah, and I think that's all she wrote for this episode.
Yeah.
Rate, review, subscribe. And with that, we leave you.
Yes. Bye, guys.
Bye.